For all of my life, I had thought of myself as a fluent, one of the best English language speaker. I had always thought of myself to be the top of my class, or at least in the top percentile of it. That was why I decided to major in law and politics, showing interest and talent in verbal skills. I was always part of debate teams or speech competitions, and I loved these activities not only because I got a chance to speak about something, but because I felt achieving and confident. However, recently, going into high school and meeting the high expectations of language and literature, I had started to go into a slump, or maybe a realization about myself. My grades and my attainment was not as high as it used to be, and most definitely not up to my standard. I felt stressed because what was once something that I could confidently say was my strength was no longer it. People near me, who were once not the ones most confident in language skills, started to beat me at my own game. They got better grades than me, they were more active, and they were more confident. I was crushed, literally. I wasn't inspired to do anything, and I wasn't passionate to do my best in assessments anymore. I was mad at myself for letting me become this way. I couldn't speak confidently anymore. I couldn't say to people what my possible major was because I was so afraid that it would come off as a big, impossible dream. I was not only mad at this, but I was mad at myself because deep inside, I knew. I knew that it was because I didn't try my best. I knew that those kids who were once below me tried with all their power to get up there, and they made an effort to change, while I was just there, being the same old me. I was mad because I knew this. I wanted to blame my teachers, I wanted to blame the education system, I wanted to blame everyone except for me. But deep down, I knew that it was all me. Recently, in an effort to release myself from this slump, I tried to acknowledge this more. I've started to accept that maybe I have not tried my best, and therefore it is demonstrated in my results. I accept that I could do better, and by doing this, I felt more motivated and pushed to change and actually make an effort. It stopped me from contemplating and blaming others for my incompetence. After I had begun thinking about this and thinking about myself in this particular way, I saw improvements. It was of course hard at first, trying to regain the confidence and courage to speak up. But as soon as I got used to it, I could see the results. I started small by speaking up in class, asking questions when needed. Then I started to take bigger steps, taking opportunities such as speech competitions or MUNs. I tried to overcome this slump by giving these opportunities my all, just so that I won't feel the resentment for myself when I fail. I told myself that I should give it a 110% because if I don't, I will definitely regret it. Interestingly, when I did give it my all, the results shined. I was getting back on track with my mental health and I was getting awarded at competitions. I got compliments from people for being so great. People asked me how I was so confident and how I got the courage to speak up. That made me feel so good. It was like I was getting back to my old self. It was fascinating that not only the image of how other people viewed me, but how I viewed myself could change so drastically in such a short amount of time. And sometimes I slipped back. I went back to being lazy and I made mistakes. But because I knew how hard it was to feel like I was nothing, because I knew how hard it was to have no confidence in myself, I kept pushing back. I did not want to go back to comparing myself with my friends and always feeling beat. I did not want to go back to those days when I did not love myself. I did not want to go back to those ways where I cried in my bed thinking about why I just wasn't good enough. Instead, I sat at my desk and worked. I worked on things that made me feel alive, things that made me feel confident. And because I did this, and because I didn't just think and cry about all the things that were going wrong and actually acted to change those things, I made progress. And when the progress finally paid off, and those friends who were once people I dreaded to see started to congratulate me for my accomplishments, it was an understatement to say I was happy. So, this is me saying to all of you who were maybe in a similar situation as me a few months ago. Maybe it's you that's the problem. Now, I don't mean this in any rude or judgmental way, But sometimes we get too upset about the things that are going wrong in our life that we blame others to escape the painful changes that we know we have to make. It is, and I know from experiencing this, difficult to make those changes. However, to improve, it is necessary. So, maybe it's you and maybe it's me. Maybe it's us that needs to change. Thank you for listening.